but hope starts with a seed, right? At least, that's what my Gram used to tell me with a wink. I keep all of the advice she gave me tucked in my pocket for when I need it, which was often before her death, and near constant now that she's gone. She was a fixture in my life from the start, the person I turned to when anything happened, good or bad. It's unconventional to call a grandparent your best friend, but Gram was mine from the time I knew what best friends were. It took 2 months after she died before I could look at pictures of her without instantly crying. I have a voicemail of her singing happy birthday that I can't listen to, even 6 months later. But this video, the one that now has millions of views, is as much a love letter to her as it is a question to the universe. Or a plea. When you find out your grandmother had a secret lover when she was 20, you want to know more. And when she's not around to answer the tornado of questions that kicked up the second you pulled those pictures out of a time-worn envelope in a box transferred from a dusty corner in her garage, well, you have to find alternate means. My dad was my first stop. I asked if he knew anything about Gram's romantic history, keeping it vague. I had to tread lightly. If he didn't know about the relationship, it might upset him. His grief was still as raw as mine. It was only ever Pop for her, and Mom for him. She always talked about how he was her greatest love, he told me. His parents' relationship has always been a point of pride. Their love story set his own expectations sky high, turning him into a hopeless romantic, and those expectations trickled down. It was a long-standing joke in our family. If it's not like Gram and Grandpa Joe, we don't want it. Dad's eyes had narrowed with curiosity, maybe suspicion, at my ensuing silence. Where'd that question come from? Oh, nowhere, I said, while a picture of her and another man burned a hole in the back pocket of my jeans. So, Dad was out. And if he was out, everyone else in my family was too. They'd just turn around and tell him. I'd spent enough time on TikTok to know it was equal parts useless and transformative. Insipid dance routines mixed with reunion videos that made me sob into my pillow at 2 a.m. If I posted the information I'd found and made it compelling enough, there was a chance someone would see it. There was a chance someone would know. Maybe they'd know something about the collection of photos and the single letter Gram squirreled away for over 60 years. Maybe they'd know the handsome man in the pictures with wavy dark hair and a deep dimple named Paul. It was written on the back of the pictures, in a steadier version of her loop-happy handwriting, along with the years 1956 and 1957. She married Grandpa Joe in 1959, after a whirlwind romance. I know their story by heart. Gram loved to tell it to me. But she never uttered Paul's name, not once. And that's strange. We played a game we affectionately called Tell Me a Secret, constantly. I always told her mine, and she told me hers. So I thought. Before gathering up the nerve to look at the comments and confirm whether my answer is there, I decide to rewatch the video. I press my thumb to the screen and it starts up, playing the Lord Huron song I chose for maximum heartstring pullage. The text I added overlays each picture I hold up in the frame, the chipped mint polish on my thumb a stark contrast to the black and white prints. There's a bite of grief looking at her face, which in its youth looked so much like mine. The architecture of our features is the same. People have always told us that. Twins separated by 50 or so years. Soulmates born in different decades. The first picture is Gram and Paul standing in front of a house I don't recognize. The text on the screen reads, "My grandmother passed away recently. I found these pictures of her and a man I never knew." Then it's them at the beach, her looking up at Paul with a flirty grin on her face. The only info I have is his name is Paul, and they knew each other in Glen Lake, California, sometime around 1956. Next, it's a picture of them embracing, her cheek pressed against his chest, eyes closed. Her name is Kathleen, and I believe she was 20 in these photos. The last is Paul sitting at a picnic table, his chin propped in his hand, gazing into the camera in a way that reveals who was behind it. This is a long shot, but if you recognize him, please reach out. Gram never mentioned him, but he looks important. I really need to hear their story. There's a thread of commonality running through each picture.